My name's Christian Hogue, and we met shooting on the street, which I love to do. And it's always great to meet other photographers when I'm traveling. I'm only in Melbourne for a few months. It's a city I come back to many times because I have like a goddaughter here and friends from many years ago when I graduated from New Zealand. I'm a New Zealander. I came over here for like 3 or 4 years. Computer science background, but I was very interested in computer graphics. I went to, eventually, like all Australians and New Zealanders, we all go to Europe, 6-9 months holiday, travel around backpacking, kind of young. I was maybe 24, 25, and settled in London. I got a job in London working in computer graphics, and was very excited at that. And this was in the early 80s. I think it's about 1984, which is a very famous year. And I remember getting to London and went to a big computer graphics conference and talked to the people and got a job. So from the mid 80s all the way up to about 2005, 2012, I was working in computer animation for film and TV. And my claim to fame then was I worked on the film Terminator 2 at George Lucas's company, Industrial Light and Magic in San Francisco. So I was there for just under a year working on that film, then went back to London where I had a computer graphics studio already. It's a very competitive business now. We were very lucky in the 80s and 90s. There was not a lot of competition, and it was a very pioneering time. But in the early 2000s, it all became much more of a factory process, more of a commodity, and the margins were quite small. So I decided to move sideways into more creative projects using computers, you know, titles, idents, music videos and things like that. And for some reason, I went to a media art festival in Thailand and met a lot of young Thai animators and realized they were very, very good visually, animators and motion graphics people. And so in that business climate, it made sense to take work from the UK and work with the young animators in Thailand. And they wouldn't normally get to work with high-end clients like, you know, Nike or Metallica or other people we were doing work for. So they were very excited to have the opportunity to work with some Western high-end brands and bands. So that worked fairly well. But during this time, I was traveling a lot and started to do photography of nice hotels like this one here, this Standard X in Melbourne. So I started to build up like a website of interesting travel and lifestyle photography. And eventually it became even difficult to work in Thailand with the Thai crews, the industry changing so much back in the UK. And I just couldn't face going back for another winter. I sort of spent most of the year in Thailand and started to shoot travel photography for various magazines, local magazines at first, and then international ones, in-flight magazines for Singapore Airways, Hong Kong, Philippine Airways, and Bangkok Airways, a Thai airway. And so that was great because every month I would be asked to shoot and illustrate a story that somebody else had written set in Bangkok or one of the other interesting areas in Thailand. And so that was great. That forced me to start to shoot people because normally I don't like shooting people. It's changed now, but I had to start shooting the chefs and CEO of the hotels and restaurants and things that the magazines wanted me to shoot. I gradually stopped doing the 3D motion graphics digital work, which is great because mostly you spend your life in a dark room with a computer doing that work, right? The photography, you get to visit nice hotels, go out exploring, find cool retail spaces, go to the beach, shoot the islands, meet local people. And I started to shoot portraits as well at that time. because the magazines wanted me to be able to shoot the chef or the general manager or whoever. And a friend invited me to a workshop in Maine in America. And that specialized in alternative processes. So that's like normal photo printing. It's printing using iron solution, and that gives you that very interesting blue print called cyanotype, platinum palladiums, and other handmade. You would mix the chemicals and you would paint it on the paper, and then you would make a contact print, expose that in sunlight normally. And then you had these amazingly different processes. And as part of that, they had one day of shooting wet plate, which is an amazing technique. You'll need to Google it if you don't know it. Wet plate, using big old cameras, old-fashioned cameras, designed in the 1850s up to 1890s, and still made today. So I have one of those which I travel with, but it's too big to bring to this. But I also have been shooting, moving from digital travel shooting to analog portrait street shooting, which is my favorite thing at the moment. This is a beautiful medium format camera from the 1960s. And this particular model was used by Diane Arbus. And she she was very revolutionary. She was shooting in Central Park in New York in the 1960s and early 70s. And she was attracted to unusual people, twins or autistic people, cross-dressing people, people working in the cabaret. So that was not normal for those days to be interested in those sorts of people. So she pioneered that, very groundbreaking female photographer. So I've got some examples. Like I gave a workshop yesterday using the big camera, 4x5 camera, and we shot this, which is not film. This is shot directly onto a positive photographic paper. So it's a lot cheaper than film, and it gives you a very different look to a regular film shoot. This is in the camera. You take it out after you shoot it, very slow, very low ISO, about 3. So you're shooting it like half a second, 1/15 of a second, depending on the light. I don't like to use flash or stuff. I like to use natural light. And then you go straight into a darkroom and you develop this like any normal photographic print. Comes out like that. So it's quite high contrast. It's a very unusual look. It's also slightly UV and blue sensitive. Gives reds look black. So it has a very interesting character to it. This one, it's a darkroom print and shot on this one. And I think yours is in here somewhere. I have to give you a copy now you're here. Aha. Very good. You can hang on to that one. That's for you. This is another guy in the neighborhood, Yuji. And he's another Japanese photographer shooting with this big camera, which is what I shot that on. Similar camera, not his one. He shoots Instax on Brunswick Street, like $15. You can get a little Instax of you and your girlfriend or your group of buddies, you know, having a good time on the weekend in Brunswick. And so people love it. It's a very special process, seeing this old camera being used. I also printing this is a digital negative. So you can shoot this as a contact print. You put it on your photo paper in the dark room and expose it through it in a larger light or something like that. So it's a contact print. It's not projected, it's on top of your paper. And this you can print on your ordinary laser printer at Officeworks or whatever. and you can scan your negative, or in this case, this is a scan from big Instax photo, which is a positive. So you can't get a copy, you can't print that in the darkroom. So you scan it, make a digital negative, and then you can do print in the darkroom. So that's part of the technique I learned at Maine. So now I'm based in Bangkok and not Thailand, but I come through New Zealand and Melbourne very regularly, and I joined the local darkroom, and so I had the workshop with them yesterday, and look forward to coming back in a few months and doing more street photography. Now, I love street photography because, you know, like I meet you, I meet other photographers, I meet other people in the street, and you know, it's a great way when you're traveling to make new friends, and share your knowledge with them and have fun. So that's my favorite thing to do at the moment. So we just had an exhibition which your print was in, and so was this one's Min, who's another shot from here, at Kindred Camera down in the Docklands. Just finished on the 28th, I think. But again, that's a great opportunity to show your work, group show of all the people from the darkroom. So it's a sort of a big international traveling photo taking club, and you can just pop in and out of different cities and network on Facebook and meet them on photo walks, and you know, hopefully you can do an exhibition or maybe a book. I'm looking at doing zines at the moment. This is a little zine. This is not stapled yet. It's like comes to pieces. So it can be stapled. And this is a special occasion shooting at a analog synthesizer studio in Melbourne. Very unique. There's very few places in the world. So I like analog photos. I like analog sound as well. So I became a member here, and they were moving from the old venue to now they're in Federation Square, so much more accessible. But I shot the equipment and I shot some of the people there, and made a little goodbye special magazine for that event. So that's what I hope to do. An exhibition of this in Bangkok. People are quite interested in this sort of, there's a whole underground scene there using analog synthesizers. Spread the love, really. Just share your experience. Well, it's something I did when I was quite young. My dad wasn't professional, but he was a big hobby photographer. So when I was 5 years old or 6 years old, he gave me a toy camera, a little plastic camera, and I shot like he did, and I had a lot of fun with that. And as I grew up, I got a few more serious cameras, and I didn't shoot much on my travels. I went to Europe for 9 months. I stopped in Japan on the way. That was amazing. I really enjoyed. I went to Nagasaki and took the Shinkansen, and really had a great time in Japan. And then got to Europe, traveled around, and then settled in London. So it was the late 80s. I had enough cash flow. I bought a beautiful Olympus OM2 and started taking photos, traveling with that. Went to Egypt, went to Turkey and stuff. And so that was the beginning of my photo interest, and just documenting what I see. I'm not like doing dress up, and I don't want to do, well, I don't mind doing fashion. I like shooting catwalk shows, but I don't do that kind of fashion shoots. It's me, a camera, and a person, or a location. So for me, photography is a great way to see where you are in more depth, to be more aware. So street photographers are, we're walking around, we're very aware of what's happening, strange people doing weird things, or just the light on the side of a building. You become more aware of a place, and you go hunting down back lanes for interesting, what can I see down here that's interesting? So not really shooting the famous landmarks so much. It's like getting into the local culture. For me, my photography now is what I do mainly. It doesn't pay very well because of, you know, the iPhone and everything. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of very good people with iPhones. But I think spending my life in front of computers doing visual effects for film, you know, decades in dark rooms, working till 4 a.m., no social life. It's great having a camera, being outside, and it's instantaneous. Click. That's it. And you go to the dark room and stuff. Whereas, you know, you used to work on a 5-second animated clip back in the day, and that could take you 3 months. So it's like, this is a no-brainer. Get away from the dark room, stop doing video, and get back to what I loved as a child. So it's kind of like mindfulness you've heard of, and the slow philosophy. There's a slow philosophy for food, but I think there's a slow philosophy for these older analog cameras because they're kind of weird. They're not like a digital camera. You really have to slow down and pay attention to what you're doing. And because it's film has become more expensive now, then every frame is worth $1 or whatever. So you don't go bang, 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 bang. You're quite careful with every photo. I mean, it might be a quick photo if you see something on the street. These things, it's not so easy to do quick on the street. Sometimes 35 mils better, but it just makes you slow down and be more aware, be more mindful of what you're doing and where you are. I think that's a perfect philosophy for anybody who likes to travel. You don't have to travel, you can do it in your own hometown. I mean, there's lots of stuff you never notice where you live because it's just normal for you. But when you've been shooting around the world, you go back home, you see it with fresh eyes or deeper eyes than most people. And I think that's very important to make that bond with where you are. You know, you can say you just have to do it and practice makes perfect. I'm unfortunately a collector. I'm very eclectic. I'm changing camera and technique from 1 week to the next. It's hard to perfect a technique when you're bouncing around so much, but Japanese philosophy is you just practice, 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 one camera, one lens, one sort of subject until you become a master. But you've also got to eat and pay for the rent. That's difficult to do. You know, you could become a photo influencer, but to a degree, you kind of have to sell your soul to the algorithm. So I've been lucky. I made a reasonable amount of money in the 80s and the 90s working in film and TV. I have some generated cash flow coming in regularly, so I don't have to work very hard. And I can spend time doing what I want and try and monetize that with books or exhibitions. So yeah, you really just have to do it. That's it. Okay, thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu.